You're going to be working with these popsicle sticks. And put the phone down, G girl. And on these popsicle sticks, they're colored. Let's put away our electronic devices. Let's pay attention. Let's take notes. If you can't handle that, that's okay. You need to find a different place to be, though. You can't be in here if we're not all doing the same thing. I'm okay with you doing whatever you want, but it can't be in here. All right. So this organism, these dragons that you are in charge of mating, these dragons are diploid. As I said earlier in a week ago or so, not all organisms are diploid, but these are diploid. That means that, remembering that, that's right, 2 sets of chromosomes, because this means chromosome and this means 2. So there's 2 parts to this word. Di means 2. Chromosome is, it's chromosome. So that every dragon has 2 chromosomes. What you'll see here is that these are color-coded. And each chromosome has a different set of genes, right? So you have homologs. Do we remember what homologs is, I hope? So this is A, and then it has B, and then it has C, and then it has D, and then it has E. And this homolog, there's 2 of them, but understand that in this activity, why is it doing this? It's so weird. Give me a second. I'm trying to make this. There you go. This homolog has 2 sides, but understand that they're on the same popsicle stick. So they're not. You won't see 2 homologs sitting next to each other. You see one side of the popsicle stick. They're here. They're in piles right in front of me here. Where you have one side is one set of genes and the other side is another, because they are homologs. Could you close those computers, stop talking, look at the board, take notes? Please and thank you. Close it, please. So there's 2 sides, the front and the back. The front being one homolog and the back is the other. It's just going to allow us to randomly choose which one you're going to give to the gamete. Now the green is what we call the green chromosome, which is here. It's green. Does that have an A on it? A and B, C? Yeah, okay, just making sure. The green is what we call an autosome. So an autosome is a chromosome that has to do with the body. It is not part of the sex. It's not a sex chromosome. So an autosome is a body chromosome. We call it a body chromosome. The red is there's another one of these. And it goes F. Oh, let me do it in red. F, G. You have it in front of you there on the back of the front sheet. H, I, and J. That's another chromosome. These genes are different. These genes control whether the dragon has A is a chin spike, either chin spike or no chin spike. A B is a nose spike or no nose spike. If you have 2 little B's, there's no nose spike. If you have 1 big B, it's a nose spike. C is a head flaps. 3 head flaps, where little c is 4 head flaps. Big D is no visible ear hole, where little c is 4 visible ear holes. And then E is different. E is codominant. We'll talk about that in a minute. E is codominant, so it won't be dominant recessive. So these here are what we call dominant and recessive. So when we talk about dominant and recessive, what we're saying is if these are big A, anything, no matter what the next letter is, you have that trait. You have the dominant trait. In order to get the recessive trait, you have to have 2 lowercase versions of that gene. So in order to get, let's say, A, chin spike or no chin spike, in order to get no chin spike, you have to have 2 little a's. Is that clear to everybody? Yeah. All right. E is codominant. So that's what we call dominant / recessive. So there's another thing called codominant. What does codominant mean? Go ahead.
Isn't that when it has like both of the dominant traits? Like if one is like a red flower and like a purple, so where there's both red and purple.
That's right. That's right. Does everybody else understand that? Yeah. Both are expressed. That's right. Both are expressed. I'm going to warn you that people get this confused a lot with another type of inheritance called incomplete dominance, which is not on here, but so if it were a flower, if you were talking about a flower, and you were saying red and white, then there would be white dots and there would be red dots showing up on that white flower. A red and white. If red and white were codominant, you would get red and white both showing up. Co means both. Should be writing it, not staring off into space. Miss, I take great notes. If it were incomplete dominant, if there was a flower that had incomplete dominant, same colors, then you wouldn't get red and white. Can anybody guess what you would get? Mixture. You get pink. Exactly right. You'd get pink. The whole flower would be pink because it's incomplete. Neither red nor white are dominant. They're both they're both incompletely dominant, so they mix. So incomplete dominance is a mixture. Now that's important for you to know, so try to make sure you know that this is a mixture. It's easy to confuse the two. That's why I'm spending the time here. Where codominant, you see both red and white. Incomplete, it's in between. The colors are in between. Then there's something called sex limited or influence, sex influence traits, or sex. I'll just call it linked traits. All right, they're gonna talk about under sex linked traits. There's 2. They talk about influenced and then there's limited. So this goes to understanding that when you have a male and a female, and we're going to go ahead and use XY if you don't mind. Even though it is a dragon, we're going to use XY for this example. Y means it's a male. They have a Y. There's a Y chromosome. It's small. If it has some gene, there's some genes here that maybe helps attribute to sex. If you have R, which in this case the letter R is comb. It's you know what a comb is, like on a rooster? Mm-hmm. That little flap of skin is called a comb. So if it has an R, if R is only found on the Y, if R is only found on the Y chromosome, then only males can have combs, right? Because you'll never have a female with the R gene, because it doesn't have a Y chromosome. Does that make sense? So that's important. That's why it's important to understand that females being the default makes sense in developmentally, because in order to be male you have to have the Y chromosome, because the genes for male are on the Y chromosome. So in this case, this R, they're using the comb like in a rooster to designate that this is a sex-limited trait. It can only be found on the Y chromosome, so you'll never have a female with a comb. Are we all good with that?
Yeah.
All right. So that's green and the red. They're both autosome. Orange, I don't have an orange. Oh, I do. Is that orange KLM?
I believe, yeah, this is.
Is that KLM?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we do have an orange. Hold it up. It's more like a peach. It's the closest to orange that I could get at the time.
Red is pink.
Yeah, red is pink. So red is not red. Red is pink, okay? Everybody okay with that? I didn't have red paper, so I couldn't do red. So what we have for orange, let me go ahead and add another one. So orange is more of a peach, but that's fine. Oh wait, what? I just did orange. Orange, as you can see on the paper, is also an autosome. It has genes K, L, M, N, O. All right, and then you have the recessive versions of the genes are over there. Is there a recessive version of M? Letter M. Is there look? There's a capital M. Are you looking? I'm looking at this chart. Do you see it? There is a capital M, but there is no recessive M.
Look at the bottom.
Look at the bottom, and what does it say?
Wings.
Wings.
No wings.
Dominant in presence of a male hormone, and no wings if it's in a female. So only males can have wings, because you need a secondary gene, a hormone. Let's call it testosterone because it's one you've heard before. Testosterone. In the presence of testosterone, the capital M gene will allow the dragon to develop wings. If that hormone's is not present, you don't get wings. That happens a lot, by the way. That's why genetics is complicated. It's not as easy as dominant or recessive. So this is what we call sex influenced. Okay? Big T, as you can see, is also male hormone driven. So you have the big T. By the way, it could easily be female. Okay? So don't get in this. I've had students tell me males dominant, females recessive. It's the culturally that influences your thinking, guys. It's not true. What did the girl say to me? Well, isn't the father dominant? Isn't the genes from the father dominant? No, it has nothing to do with male female relationships, no matter how you were raised. Okay, this is about genes, whether the gene is going to show up, we call it dominant, or if you need 2 copies of the gene in order to see the product. All right. Yeah. All right. So that takes us through orange. Those of you that have done this dragon genetics before, is this new to you?
I've done something similar.
Is it something that's more in depth?
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so it is more in depth. That's what I was hoping to hear. So the yellow is also an autosome. There is a yellow. Is that correct? PQRST, is that there?
Yes.
So PQRST are there. And then we have X chromosome only. There's 3 genes on the X chromosome. There's no tail spike, long arms, and non-fire breather, or tail spike, short arms, and fire breather. The plus or minus are fire breathers. Bless you. Yes, bless you. And the Y chromosome only determines whether the male whether it's sex. Notice that Y chromosome has limited number of genes. That's true in humans as well. The Y chromosome really is not necessary for survival of the embryo. It's the X is absolutely necessary, but the Y is not. Yeah.
So what the white and the blue are?
Help me out. They're both which has X, Z, and plus.
This is the white one.
So the white one is the X chromosome. And what does the other one have?
The other one has lowercase u, v, w, x, z, and a negative. So one's dominant and one's recessive?
It should. Does it have a Y at all?
I don't see one, no.
Well, we'll have to, if you have a Y on the
It's these ones.
yeah, it's a blue. If the blue one has a Y, it's a male. If it has an X, it's a female. Are we all clear on that?
Yeah.
All right. So the blue one is the sex chromosome. So are the sex chromosomes? Oh, why is this turned like this? All right. So blue is a sex chromosome. The X chromosome only where Y is the blue is either a Y or an X. How many? We have 2, right? So the blue is either going to be a Y. You got one X, and then you got the other is going to be a Y or an X. Are we all good with that?
Yeah.
All right. So you're going to follow the directions. I think I've explained. Now here in this trait, the first thing you're going to do is figure out what the genotypes of the mom and the dad are. So now we're going right to the data table. All right, so we're at the data table at this point. You don't have your chromosomes yet. But we can. What you're going to do is you're going to have mom. You have mom. So you have a male. One of you two is you're going to pair up into 2 individuals, 2 of you. Everybody in here is going to have 2. You're going to have one of each of these popsicle sticks. There's colors. So make sure you have one of each color. And then you're going to have a dad. And then you're going to the mom is going to make eggs. And the dad is going to make sperm. And both of you are going to write this down, because if someone's absent on Monday, I really, really don't want to hear that they were absent and they had all the data. I don't want to hear that. And then you have a trait. So you're going to figure out what the trait is of the baby. And you're going to do this for every chromosome. There's a green chromosome. This is for the green. So I'm just looking at the green right now. So you're going to have a popsicle stick. You're going to have a green popsicle stick. It's going to be double-sided, so it's green, but there's two sides. So you're going to flip the popsicle stick. Just flip it, because this is random. So take a green chromosome, flip it. What is it? What does it say?
A, B, C.
Wait, capital or lowercase?
Oh, right. Capital A, lowercase b, lowercase c, lowercase d, capital E.
Now this is a danger. This is a danger because it's hard to tell what's a capital and what's a lowercase c. So be careful. All right, now Dad's going to do it. So get another popsicle stick and flip it. So each of you is going to have one. See how there's, see, look at what she's doing. She's flipping it. There's two of you. Each of you is going to have a green. You're going to flip it. What did Dad get?
Lowercase a, uppercase b, lowercase c, lowercase d, and a lowercase e.
All right. So now we figure out what goes in the egg. Oh, I'm sorry. I messed up. Let's go back to Mom. Mom had big A. What was the other one?
Little b.
Hold on. Let me do it over here. Give me a second. This is where the flipping happens over here, okay? We already flipped this, so I want to save some time. So Mom has big A. What's the other one?
Big A, little b.
Oh, no. Flip it.
Oh, big A, big B.
No. There's no A on the other side?
Oh, big A.
So two big A's. Yeah. Mom has up. What about B?
Big B.
All right.
Big C. Big D. And big E.
And Dad?
Little A, big B, big C, little D, and there's no E.
All right. So this is what the parents had. You read both sides of the popsicle stick, and that's what you're putting here. Is that clear? Then you flip them, and then whatever Mom had, you put here under egg. Whatever Dad had, you put here in sperm. If there's no letter, then some mutation happened. It was when the chromosomes were doing meiosis, they separated, and something was deleted. We call it a deletion. That part of the chromosome was deleted. That happens. All right. So you can also have an inversion. There's all kinds of things that we call them non-disjunction. Yeah.
So if the dad had a big C and a little c, why is the sperm a little c?
It's randomly. That's because you only get half. She flipped it, and that's what she gave him.
Got it.
So that's what the whole randomness is, right? Because remember, what is the purpose of meiosis? Putting half the DNA in each of the sperm and each of the egg. Well, which half do you put for each gene? It's random. They're independent. Independent assortment, meaning we don't know which one of each of these genes is actually going to end up in the egg or the sperm. Is that clear? That's why you're flipping it.
So you're just flipping the egg and the sperm?
Yeah, you flip show them. Pick the green chromosome. So one of them is an egg. She flips it, and whichever one that is facing up, that's the egg. For the mom, which do the same with the other one. For the dad, that's the sperm. Is that clear?
So you just like turn it around?
Just flip it. No, don't turn around. You got two. There's two of you. There's two of you. Give me that. She has one. I have one. I have the female dragon. She has the male dragon. I read what genes they had. I put the female dragon's genes on the board in my chart. How do I know? I read it. She has the male dragon. She reads it, flips it, and writes down the genes for the male. Her male is missing an E. It's deleted. One of her male's chromosomes is missing an E. The other one has a little E. Now, her male's going to make sperm. So you have to decide which one of the two copies is it going to give to the sperm. you flip it, and whatever's pointing up, that's what you write down for the sperm. For the egg, since my dragon's female, whatever it's making an egg. So I flipped it, and that's what showed up for the female. That's it. Is that clear to everybody? No questions? Because you're going to have to do this on your own for all the chromosomes. You're going to create a full dragon, theoretically. All right, so the trait. What is the baby going to look like as far as from the green chromosomes? Well, first of all, mom was homozygous dominant. Going over some vocabulary words here. Homozygous dominant. Which means it is the same and it's dominant. Homo means the same genes, and it's dominant. Mom is heterozygous for B, which means she has one of each, a dominant and a recessive. She's also heterozygous for C. She's heterozygous for D. Dad is homozygous recessive for D. Now this will become important when we start doing Punnett squares, dihybrid crosses, and we start looking at some data. So you have to be able to tell what these three words are. These three vocabulary words, 1, 2, and 3. Now these are the egg and the sperm. They're going to come together and make a full dragon. Big A and little a gives you big A, little a. It says do the trait of the baby, but that's because they assume you understand that this is the genotype. But I'm going to write the genotype out so everybody's clear. And the genotype is big A, little a, big B, big little c, little d, big E, little e. So it's heterozygous for A, B, and E, and it's homozygous recessive for C and D. Do you all agree? Yeah. All right. So now let's go ahead and see what the traits are. Now we're going to look at this word called phenotype. That's right, the physical characteristic that's a result of the genes. So A is dominant, so what does it have? No chin spike. B is dominant, so no nose spike.
Like it has a nose.
Oh, it does have one. I'm sorry. It does have a nose spike. And C, it's both recessive, so now you have what? Forehead flaps. Is that right?
Yeah.
And D is recessive, so we have what?
Visible ear hole.
Visible ear hole. And E,
Is it eye round at the front only?
I pointed at each end.
But what about, there's another one that's E and then little E?
Well, which does this person have?
They have big E and little E.
So they have big E, little e. So it's I rounded front only is correct. Could you sit down, whoever it is that's behind me? It doesn't matter. Just sit down. I don't have time for this. Sit down and hold it. Just wait. Go sit down and take notes. I round at front only. So now you have a set of characteristics that you can help build your dragon with. That's the result of your mother and father dragon giving you this. Yeah.
Would you flip like them both to like the other person's paper, or would you just have the same thing on both of you?
This would be the same for everybody.
Okay.
Because you have both the egg and the sperm data, you have mom and dad's data on both. So when you guys meet up, when you mate your dragons, you're getting the whole data table for everybody. So I just did this example with you for the green one, but you have to do green, red, orange, yellow, the sex X and Y chromosomes, all right? Or rather, the sex chromosomes, which are blue and white, right? There's two sex chromosomes, blue and white. And then these are the genes that are only on the X, and these are only on the Y, etc. All right. So whether you get an X or a Y depends on the flip, and depends on which one you have. Could you try to make sure that each of you that you have a male mating with a female? When you're getting your chromosomes, when you pair up, you guys are going to pair up into two people, actual humans, two students. As you come up, each of you try to make sure you get a Y. One of you gets a Y, and the other one gets an X. At least one X and one Y. Is that clear? Look at the little popsicle sticks. Look at the blue and the white popsicle sticks. Try to find one with a Y and one with an X. So don't both of you get Y, because you'll end up with a baby with two Ys. That doesn't work. Okay? All right. That's it. Get that done. We'll talk more on this on Monday.